Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Kyle Svetlik is a wealth manager at Annex Wealth Management. Welcome back.
Hey, Danny. Thanks for having me.
You know, our relationship with clients goes far beyond investment and retirement planning. We think life is a journey. We realize every mile is important, and we're in it with you folks for the length of the relationship. It's more than dollars and cents, and that's what we're going to talk about with Kyle. It's important to not leave out a critical piece of the picture. Successful retirement takes a whole lot more than adequate financial planning. Kyle, what is the more part?
The more part would be a plan for how you want to enjoy your life, find meaning in it, and maintain a sense of purpose. Financial advisors are not typically trained to explain these things. Yet we know from studies that the challenges of creating a successful next phase of life after working full-time are often overlooked when the emphasis is only about your portfolio and returns. If you ask anyone who can't wait to get to the last day of work, retirement, what they plan to do next, you often hear, just want to relax. Of course, that's fine, but look around at the folks who've just finished high-pressure jobs with no plan in mind. What's next? You'll see some very lost people. It's highly unlikely that financial advisors ever tell people the truth about the risk of depression in retirement. Media ads for retirement planning feature older people traveling, doing fun things, and always smiling. We're supposed to have that image of retirement. Now for a reality check. Depression is common in retirement, and the risk is there for anyone who has not given enough consideration to what we need to do to prevent it. You might hear someone say, do some volunteer work or something like that. It's okay, but that advice is not good enough.
So, Kyle, if I wave the magic wand and all of a sudden you're going to be retired next week, maybe the first week or two would be pretty awesome, but you might be crawling the walls after a while.
You most definitely would be. So you always have that honey to-do list. Like you the first day you retire, your wife's going to put together a nice list for you to get done. After a couple of weeks, that honey to-do list might actually start to fade away. And you need to start finding some different aspects to fill your day, fill that void with, whether it's human connection, whether it's television, or something to just take up some more time. You need to start filling up that void a little bit more. And that honey to-do list eventually goes away and you need to start working or doing something a little bit fun.
Let's talk about the components of true successful retirement. And I think you kind of hinted at that. Get some sort of structure in there.
Yeah, so there's three main components when we want to look at retirement, building some structure. Structure is going to be the first component we're going to talk about. Structure is just building up something that's going to be essential, basic component of mental health. When you were working, you went into the office, you had structure every single day of what you wanted to try and complete and get done. When you get retired, structure kind of just goes out the window, right? So you don't have that structure in place anymore. Simply put, design a weekly routine that you can put personal structure into, something that you can look forward to on your calendar. Golf with friends, maybe it's helping out at a charity, but it's something you've got to be able to look forward to on your calendar instead of not having something set and just relying on waking up and having the next day start.
Let's talk a little bit about purpose. An example you talked about earlier, the person that decides that they're in that high-pressure job and they just stop working and they don't have a purpose except to relax. That's not going to work.
That's exactly right. And purpose being your second component is whether you loved or hated your job, you had a purpose. You were going to work, you were earning that paycheck, you had interactions with individuals, you felt like you were part of society. Think of retirement as maybe you're not part of society anymore. You're not contributing to the gross domestic product of the United States. You're not helping the taxes out as much as you wanted to. You don't have that purpose, that sign of, I've done something today, and now I can go back home and relax at the end of the day. Your day starts with the relaxing. So having purpose, something said in there, is very important when we take a look at mental health of retirees.
Components of true successful retirement. Let's talk a little bit about community.
That would be our last component that we want to talk about. Every healthcare provider that you meet will tell you that social isolation is not a healthful component of retirement. So when you think of community, when you went into the work, you had your coworkers, you had colleagues, you had clients that you were able to talk to, have a social conversation with. It was built into your workday. Now, when you're retired, you don't have that component anymore. You wake up, you have to physically take yourself out of the house and go to the grocery store and talk to someone, or you have to have something built in where you're going in and you're keeping that community involvement engaging. And this can be done by doing volunteer. It can be done by having hobbies, but it's important to stay involved in your community and have that social portion of retirement that you had when you had it structured through work.
Kyle Svetlik is a wealth manager at Annex Wealth Management. Beyond the financial plan, folks, we want you to have a well-constructed financial plan, but that goes by the wayside if there are factors that conspire to derail you. Are there any takeaways here?
Yeah. Simply put, retirement can be bad for your mental health. Ever met a wealthy person who's depressed? I bet you have. Loss of structure, purpose, and community can harm you in ways you've never considered. When you're done looking at the travel brochures and planning for your next golf game, consider that successful retirement doesn't just happen because you're finally financially secure. It's a creation of your own design. You make it beautiful.
It starts with the first meeting at Annex Wealth Management. We're going to get to know you, what your hopes are, your dreams, your goals, and that's where we're different. Investment and retirement planning, tax planning, and estate planning. We do it as a fee-only fiduciary. I want you to know the difference. The website is annexwealth.com. Click that Get Started button. Kyle Svetlik, wealth manager at Annex Wealth Management. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks, Danny.